All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. All right, welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to yet another live stream. We are very much approaching the final day, which is approximately about 24 hours away. And season's coming to an end, but wow, ladies and gentlemen, absolute fireworks at the moment in terms of news. We've got the here we go of Estevao Willian, the latest Brazilian wonderkid. We're going to talk about that in detail, how that transfer has transpired and what it means. Apparently, he's been promised that he's going to start for Chelsea Football Club as soon as he turns 18. So it's not going to be next season, but the season after. What is the implications around that? I've always said, first of all, look, I'm very, very happy and excited. To a certain degree, to a certain level, we've got so many young, talented players. We have stockpiled so much. It's very difficult to get really, really excited about these sort of news anymore. But of course, he's a Chelsea player now. There has to be some level of excitement. There has to be some level of, looking forward to this particular player coming in and playing for Chelsea Football Club one day, not next season, but the season after. But also at the same time, we need to understand what does it mean for the squad, because certainly not everyone is going to make it at Chelsea Football Club. So we're going to talk about that. Thiago Silva, ladies and gentlemen, it is his final game for Chelsea Football Club. There is a fantastic interview that is circulating around social media. So we're going to touch base on bits and pieces of that interview, because he actually says a lot of things, a lot of truths from Thiago Silva that I think we as a fan base, we need to understand what it all means, and how the squad is feeling right now, where the squad's mentality is right now. I think it's very important to have a look at what Thiago Silva said in his final message. We want to talk about Mauricio Pochettino and his future once again. I thought perhaps his future is quite settled, that he will be Chelsea manager next season. But then now we're hearing some Ipswich manager being linked with Chelsea Football Club. And the fact that we are bringing in more kids in the likes of Estevao Willian, it makes you wonder, did Poch really agree with all of this? Like, he's this particular kid, Estevao Willian, he's apparently been promised that he will start. He will start for Chelsea Football Club. Not next season, but the season after. He will definitely start. So, is Pochettino in line with all of this? Has Pochettino agreed with all of this? So we're going to talk about that. Transfer news. Gallagher getting linked with Aston Villa. Obviously, the links with Spurs are still there. We're going to talk about De Zerbi news as well. So lots to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. Plenty. And of course, Chelsea versus Bournemouth, the final game. We're going to talk about the match preview of that particular match as well. Big up to each and every one of you guys. Big up to Digital Arts. What about Angela? All of these things we're going to talk about. What about Angela? What about Omari Hutchinson? What about Madueke? We're going to talk about all of these things in details, because I was initially thinking about just doing a video, and then I was like, nah, man, like this needs proper conversation. How can I just do a 15-20 minute video and just lay it all in that? I think proper conversations need to be had, and I want to see what you guys say in the live chat as well, because it's very important how you guys feel about it, and I think that will create even better discussions as well. Big up to Nehemiah, Conor Gallagher, and Chalobah. I want them to stay, but they might play their last game for Chelsea with Silva. Yeah, look, it's crazy. It's in one side you've got the financial fair play issues, and on the other side you're thinking, well, these are some of the players that has done well this season. These are some of the players that actually understand the style of play of the current manager, and if we want to keep this current manager for next season, it just doesn't make sense of getting rid of players that are doing well for him. It doesn't make sense. Sure, we can say, okay, well, Conor Gallagher is not irreplaceable. You can find another Conor Gallagher, no problems. You can say Chalobah is not irreplaceable. You can find another Chalobah, no problems. But the fact is, it's another new person. Conor Gallagher and Chalobah, they have an established relationship with Maurizio Pochettino, and they're doing well for Maurizio Pochettino. You want to now remove them and bring someone totally the same talent as them, no problems, but they're new people. There are personalities that Maurizio Pochettino will have to get used to. And I'm thinking, is that worth it? Is that actually worth it? Gremlin, big up to you. The dopium don't even hit no more. Honestly, let's start from this. Let's have a look at the news first up, ladies and gentlemen. So this is the news. We'll go to Fabrizio Romano. Obviously, Fabrizio Romano has been covering this news quite extensively. We'll go to Fabrizio Romano. So it started off from here, ladies and gentlemen. Chelsea reached verbal agreement to sign Brazilian gem Willian Estevao. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, is it Estevao Willian or Willian Estevao? Can someone let me know in the live chat? Because, I'm a little bit confused about that. Here we go. Palmeiras ready to accept final bid worth 40 million euros plus 25 million in add-ons. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not talking about any petty change here. This is a lot of money. 40 million euros plus 25 in add-ons. I'm pretty sure those 25 in add-ons are not very difficult add-ons. Obviously, we'll get to know and hear more about the add-ons down the track, but I don't think Palmeiras would have got opted with easy add-ons. I'm pretty sure. Sorry, opted with hard add-ons. I'm pretty sure these would be somewhat achievable add-ons. So more than you can believe, you can say that the final figure is probably about 65 million euros. All right, fine. For the time being, it's 40 million euros. Okay, no problems. This is a hefty amount of money to pay, man. I get the talent, I get the hype, I fully understand it, but my days, we just expect this particular player to just waltz into the Chelsea lineup and waltz into the Premier League and just take it by storm. There is so much that this kid, in my opinion, will have to learn and adapt to this league, to the physicality of this league, to the demands of this league. Are we just expecting he's just going to come in and he's going to blow things apart? There's a lot of pressure to put, man. It is a lot of pressure to put on a young player. Personal terms agreed 10 days ago. Estevao will join Chelsea in 2025. So obviously it's going to be a big season for him next season in Palmeiras. He has to develop and grow. Just waiting for Palmeiras president to sign. So we got the here we go from Fabrizio Romano. And he further goes on to say, Estevao's contract at Chelsea will be initially valid until June 2032. So it's a very long-term contract, 7-year contract. And I think recently we've seen Todd Bowley say that, look, all of these 7-year contracts are essentially 5-year contract because by the time the 5 years finished, they wanna be able to decide whether they want to keep the player or they want to give him a contract extension. So, Todd Bowley saying that don't worry about the 7 years; it's really a 5-year contract. It's just in paper it's 7 years because by the time the 5 years is over, they want to be able to do something about that player. Chelsea have been on a mission in Brazil for days in order to seal the agreement now, just waiting to get it signed. So, look, once again, as I said, fantastic the fact that we've got this particular player, but check this out. Breaking. Estevao will not go out on loan in 2025. He will immediately be considered first-team player. Chelsea believe he is super special. So he will become a first-team player. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask you guys in the live chat, I want to bring up some of your comments. What do you guys think about this? The level of money we paid, the talent, he's apparently going to start. What does it mean for Omari Hutchinson? What does it mean for Madueke? What does it mean for Angela Gabriel? What does it mean for Kendry Paez? Don't forget, Kendry Paez is also coming in. Now, I fully understand the fact that we want to thrive for the best. We want to compete at the highest level. We want to have the best players in every position. Two of them, two best players in every position. I fully get that. But right now, the way we're moving, there are certain players that will have to, like, what's the future of Madueke? What's the future of Madueke? Sure, next season, no problems. No problem. Next season, we hold on to Madueke because, Henry Paez and Estevao Willian, they're coming a bit later. But surely there has to be a point where some of these players will just not make it. It's simple as that. Mav J is saying, Ms. Madueke was a Christopher Vivell signing, so Madueke and Olise swap deal make it happen. Well, I want Olise. I don't even think it's possible anymore. I mean, look at the way we are stockpiling talent. And I know some of you guys may say, well, some of these players can actually play through the center as well. Maybe they can even play on the other side. No problems. But still, there's a lot of players and their future and their careers are in our hands. And we need to be able to set out the right type of development and right type of plans to ensure that we're not screwing up these players. Prezi, problem is we will only have him from the age of 18 to 25. Hopefully, we don't develop him and then lose him to a team like Real Madrid. So that's the other factor. I mean, are we building these players up for another club down the track? Who knows? Chelsea Empire. By the way, big up to you, Chelsea Empire. I have no problems with this signing. If the return is a Neymar or Ronaldinho, I'll take this risk any day of my life. We need to be involved in these signings with the biggest clubs in the world. Look, I hear what you're saying, Chelsea Empire. I hear what you're saying. Are we more concerned right now? We need to understand priorities, right? We need to understand what is the next best thing for Chelsea Football Club, right? We need to understand what's the next best step. And we're going to come to the whole talk about Thiago Silva's final message. And Mauricio Pochettino said it as well. Us potentially coming 6th, 5th, we'll see what happens in the final day. And that will propel us to Europa League. Make no mistake about it. Yes, we have somewhat rectified the season, but this is not our standard. We cannot get happy with Europa League. We must get back into Champions League and we must compete to win the Premier League title. We must. Now, that may not happen next season, competing for the Premier League title, but we must come back into Champions League at a bare minimum. And then we need to pick up trophies as well. It's about winning. So when we think about that, it's about winning. And as Thiago Silva and Pochettino has said in their recent comments, it's not good enough where we are. The position of Chelsea. Is it wise to then now think about the next Neymar, the next Ronaldinho? Is it wise to think about that now? Are we in a position as a club to worry about the next Neymar, the next Ronaldinho? Didn't we get Henry Paez as well? Henry Paez is a superstar. He's turning out to be a superstar. Are we seriously going to compete with kids? Do we really think Estevao Willian will start for us in season 25-26 and we are going to compete for the Premier League? Because we have to. Next season, we get back into Champions League. The season after, we must compete in the Premier League. So what I'm trying to say is that shouldn't we worry about now? What do we need now? What's more important now? Because now is not really fixed, is it? We've not really fixed now, have we? So what are we doing for now? It's great. We want to look for the next Ronaldinho, next Neymar, next everything, next Messi. Is that helping us now? Is that going to help us next season? That's my issue with this whole situation at the moment. Big up to Shervin. Big up, Miz. It's one thing to buy youngsters, but then But when we have to sell the likes of Gallagher just to avoid financial fair play, that tells you we are spending too much gambling on this. And this is a fantastic point from Shervin. So we all know we might escape the financial fair play issue for this upcoming financial period ending on 30th of June. We might escape because we sold 2 hotels, we are selling Cobham, or we've already sold Cobham. So we might escape this season. This season, 30th of June, we might just escape. But for the next season, don't forget, if we make it to Europe, that financial fair play becomes even harder. So for next season, we've already purchased Estevao Willian. We need to still get a striker. I thought maybe we can get Olise. I thought maybe we can have Nkunku, Cole Palmer, Olise, and Jackson up front. Because Nkunku, Cole Palmer, Olise will score a lot of goals. But let's say we don't get Olise. We need a striker. We need a centre-back. We potentially down the track need a left-back and a goalkeeper. But we've now just bought yet another right winger because this is the next Neymar, next Ronaldinho. Does it make sense? Is this all making sense? And as Shervin said, we're buying Estevao Willian, but now most likely we're going to be forced to sell Conor Gallagher, to sell Chalobah. 2 players that if you're keeping this manager next season, it's so important to keep. It's so important to keep. So what is the plan? What is the plan here? Why are we handicapping this manager? And it makes me think, is this manager actually going to be a long-term manager? It now makes me think he's probably not. He may get next season. He may even actually walk. I'm not even sure anymore. Poch may just walk. Poch may look at all of this and go, well, this doesn't make sense to me. Poch will try his level best to get back into Champions League football next season. He said it, right? He said it. It's not good enough. This season's not good enough. We're not going to celebrate 5th and 6th. We're not going to celebrate that. Yeah, we've been able to rectify the situation right there. We're not going to celebrate that. And then we want to handicap him. We want to handicap him by getting rid of his players. I guess this is why we are linked with that Ipswich manager. I don't know. There's all these sort of links that are happening. Chelsea Empire. Joe Shields is behind this signing. I have to back this. I also think we will focus on our first team this summer. Real Madrid signed Endrick for 60 million and they're getting Mbappe. Look, Chelsea, I get what you're saying, man. Please, I think people need to understand. Don't compare us to Real Madrid. Don't compare us to Liverpool. Those institutions they've got a proper plan. They're getting Endrick whilst they have the likes of Cruz, Modric, Rudiger. Do you know what I mean? Like Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo. Like they're not getting Kendrick in the mix of getting a whole heap of other kids as well. Real Madrid have a plethora of experience, have a plethora of proven youngsters, and then they're adding Endrick. Is it the same situation with us? And I understand Joe Shields has done a madness. I get that. I fully get that Joe Shields has done a madness. I know. I would back him as well with any of these recruitments. I would. But we have to understand, Estevao Willian, he's not going to be available next season. And we really think he's just going to... no disrespect to La Liga. La Liga is a strong league as well. No disrespect. But don't get it twisted. It is a tad bit easier to adapt over there. Premier League, You think Estevao Willian just going to walk in? Who's that Crystal Palace Brazilian player that we were linked with as well? Can someone remind me? Remember that Crystal Palace Brazilian player? Crystal Palace Brazilian player that they bought last summer. We were linked with him as well. That's it. Gremlin. França. Where is he? Where is he? Didn't people say he's top as well? Didn't people say he's also a wonder kid? Did people say that or not? Of course they did. Of course they did. People think you're just going to waltz into the Premier League. You're just going to waltz in. Straight from Palmeiras to the Premier League. And Premier League oppositions, they're just going to allow you to play the way you want to play. No, it's not realistic. It's just not realistic, man. I've got no issues in buying gems. I've got no issues with that. But you need to sort now. And gems, you can't expect gems to just come in and just turn things around. They need adaptation time. They need adaptation time, man. Like, honestly. Kamalu, thank you so much for the super chat. Ms. Estevao Willian will not be in our books till 2025-2026. Season has reported. Okay. Also, Willian can turn out to be Lamil Jamal of Barca. Yeah, of course, man. Of course he may. But then what about Kendry Paez? What about the talents you have right now? What about Omari Hutchinson? What are you going to do with Omari? Omari Hutchinson is probably... Can people disregard Omari Hutchinson off the back of the loan spell he's had at Ipswich? Can you disregard Omari Hutchinson? Do you not think Omari Hutchinson's level right now is probably superior to Estevao Willian's? Estevao Willian, I don't know how many games he's played for Palmeiras, but Omari Hutchinson just finished off a stellar season in the Championship. Whose level's higher right now? Who would you think should deserve to get an opportunity next season? And then don't forget, what about Angelo Gabriel? What about Angelo Gabriel? This is what I'm trying to say. It's just, he can turn into this. They can turn into that. We said that about everyone. Remember when we got linked with Angelo Gabriel? Don't try to pretend you don't remember anymore. Don't try to pretend you don't remember. When we got linked and when we bought Angelo Gabriel, each and every one of you guys was so excited. Here's the next big thing. I got excited after seeing Angelo Gabriel in the preseason. But now we need to figure out a plan for Angelo Gabriel. Angelo Gabriel probably needs a loan move, another loan move, because he hasn't been able to fulfill his loan at Strasbourg. Obviously, injuries came into play. But you need to have a plan for him as well. Unless you guys are saying, look, all of these guys are going to get sold soon. What about Madueke? Madueke is a starter. Madueke right now is a starter for Chelsea Football Club. Madueke is someone Pochettino has been working on. So what? We just brush aside Madueke. Thank you for this season. See you later. Pack your bags. Let's go. Yalla, let's move. Let's move for what? For a player that's going to come in 25-26 season. Look, I don't want to make this situation sound like I'm so against this player. No, this player might be the next Ronaldinho and might be the next Neymar. My message here is, what are we doing for next season? all of these financial fair play issues, this, that, the other, and we're just going out there and we're not paying. Estevao Willian is not 10 million euros. Estevao Willian, the total package is 65 million euros. And I'm going to come to the I'm going to come to the video of Thiago Silva. Thiago Silva talks about this before he left. In his final message, Thiago Silva says, there needs to be balance. There needs to be balance. Big up to Chelsea Empire. Thank you so much for the super chat. Big up, my brother. Love you, my man. Love you as well. Look, I love the fact we created this fantastic discussion. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, the news is apparently he doesn't want to be called Messinho, by the way. The news is Estevao Willian is a here we go to Chelsea Football Club. He will not go out on loan in 2025. He will immediately be considered a first-team player. Chelsea believe he's super special. So that's the latest on that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about Thiago Silva. And I want to share a particular video with you guys. And there's a lot to talk about this. I need to turn the heater on. It's damn cold in here, man. It's so cold. All right. I'm going to go to, first of all, let me stop that. Big up to Haj. Big up to each and every one of you guys. Smash the like button. This is going to be a fantastic session. I'm telling you. There's so much to talk about. Don't go anywhere. There is a lot to talk about. We've only just covered Estevao Willian. We don't need to talk about Thiago Silva. We then need to talk about Pochettino. We then need to talk about who the F is Kieran McKenna. We need to talk about him. We need to talk about Gallagher. He's getting linked with Aston Villa. Is that wise? We need to then also talk about tomorrow's match. So don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. All right. Now, let's have a quick read of what Haj is saying. What's the point of all this? Why can't we just be a normal club? Why can't we just focus on the first team? Why are all these youth talents and multi-club models necessary for us to succeed? Look, it's not. I get that these things may be necessary to succeed in the long term. I get it. I think what Haj, you're probably also trying to say is that there needs to be priority. There needs to be priority. The focus should not be about multi-club and youth talents for now. The focus should be, how can we solidify a first team that can compete at the highest order? That needs to be the first priority and the main priority. Because let's be honest, over the last 2 seasons, it's not been Chelsea standard. Sure, this season we'll end up finishing 6th or 5th, right? And that is an improvement from last season, no problems. But still, by no means, it is the level. We need to go back to Champions League, and we 100% need to start competing in the Premier League. We're not going to be doing that if our focus is elsewhere. I think that is the point. Okay, now let's check out this particular video, ladies and gentlemen, of Thiago Silva. I tweeted something out, and I'll share that.
Eu pensei.
We'll start from...
Por isso que eu me sinto realizado de tudo que eu vim fazer aqui, eu consegui. Até mais do que eu pensei. E por isso que fica uma tristeza grande, assim, de estar aproximando do final.
Hold on, one second. I want you guys to be able to see the captions underneath. Let me just take this out for a second, and let me enlarge that. Maybe I'll do it this way. Yeah. All right, let's check this out together.
Por isso que eu me sinto realizado de tudo que eu vim fazer aqui, eu consegui. Até mais do que eu pensei. E por isso que fica uma tristeza grande, assim, de estar aproximando do final. Mas a gente entende e sabe que o mundo do futebol é isso. Mas o mais importante é que eu tô com a minha cabeça tranquila de tudo que eu podia fazer, eu fiz. Tudo.
Você fica emocionado,
Fico.
né?
Fico porque isso aqui é minha vida. E eu sei o que o Thiago representa. E o Thiago sabe o que é colocar a camisa do Chelsea, sabe? E se eu tenho uma mensagem para passar para os meninos que aqui estão hoje, que eles entendam que tudo que eles fizeram para chegar até o Chelsea tem que ter valido a pena. Porque a temporada que a gente está fazendo não é digna do Chelsea. Não é. E eu acho que eles têm que fazer mais ano que vem. Eles precisam fazer mais. Se você olha nos jogos, a torcida ela nunca abandonou o time. Nunca. A gente está em 9º colocado, 8º, né? E a torcida sempre ali. Vaiava um pouquinho no final de jogo, mas sempre presente. Estádio sempre 40 mil, 45 mil. Se é em outro lugar, a gente é apedrejado, como a gente sabe, como acontece no nosso país. Então, esses meninos, eles precisam ter um pouco essa consciência que o Chelsea tem que brigar lá em cima. Se a gente tirar um pouco do nosso ego e colocar em prol do time, eu acho que vai funcionar. Se a gente não fizer isso, dificilmente a situação ela vai mudar, infelizmente. Por isso que eu me sinto...
Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, what an incredible piece of information, commentary there from Thiago Silva. So much he said in that particular video. There's a lot more. There's a lot more. Do check that entire clip out. This guy, every time he talks about Chelsea, honestly, he breaks down in tears. Do you understand what it means for this guy, Chelsea Football Club? Just deep it for a second. Every time he talks about Chelsea, he breaks down. He loves this club so much, you don't even understand. That's first thing to realize. This particular brother, this Thiago Silva, this player, it's from the heart. It truly is from the heart what it means to play for Chelsea Football Club. You see the way his lips, they're shaking. They're stuttering. You see how his tears, they're almost coming out. So that's one thing. Number two, he talks about that it's not good enough. Don't get too happy about this season. It's not good enough. That's not Chelsea. It's not good enough. So this is the kind of player that we are, that's departing from Chelsea Football Club. If I was to say this, then a lot of you guys will, Miz, you're deluded. You don't understand where we are. Thiago Silva himself is saying where Chelsea is right now is not good enough. It's not been good. It has to be better next season. So that's number two. Number three, he talks about egos. He talks about players inside the club right now. They need to put aside their egos. And we have seen all throughout the season example of egos. We have the penalty issue, the penalty incident between Jackson, Madueke, Palmer, whole heap of other players that came in. What have these young kids achieved? What have they done? They've done nothing. They've done nothing for Chelsea Football Club. These young kids have done nothing, but they hold a huge ego. So you want to then put more kids with more ego? All I'm saying is it's not going to be easy for Pochettino. This is why I'm starting to sympathize with Pochettino. Pochettino has said it many times in the press conference. It's not easy. Some of these, we've seen reports, some of these kids, they don't want to listen to any tactical information. They don't want to hear criticism. Do you think it's easy for a manager to handle all of these kids with such big egos? I don't even know where these egos are coming from. You have to understand the bigger picture. Just for a second, deep it. Think from a deep intellectual point of view. All these young kids, the project being sold to them, they're on decent money. They all want to be superstars at Chelsea Football Club. Is it easy? What's Poch or whoever the manager is going to be? What are they going to do in season 25-26 when you have all of these players to select from? What are they going to do? And when an owner or the board has already declared, they've already declared Estevao Willian will start in 25-26. So what's the manager meant to do building up to that? What's the manager meant to do? And as I said, forget about Poch. Any manager coming to Chelsea Football Club, how are they meant to handle all of these kids? Don't worry about me. Thiago Silva is saying all of this. Thiago Silva, check that entire video out. That was just a clip. Thiago Silva goes on to talk about balance of the team as well. Thiago Silva goes on to talk about the balance of the team as well. Very important. You can't just keep bringing in kids. It's not going to be easy. The more kids, tell me one team, honestly, in the Premier League, tell me one team in the Premier League that has done unbelievably well in terms of success, silverware, with kids. Tell me one team. Tell me one team. I swear to you, if you can tell me one team that has done this, forget it. I'll stop talking about this particular situation. This is going to make it very difficult for the manager, regardless of who the manager is. Next season, no Thiago Silva. What are we going to do? We're probably going to get a young centre-back, aren't we? We're probably going to get a young centre-back. So that's another young player. Who's the role model at Chelsea Football Club now? Who are the role models at Chelsea Football Club? You can probably say Cole Palmer. He's young as well. Ben Chilwell, is he a role model? I don't think so. Ben Chilwell doesn't come across a role model. Reece James, I want to believe he's a role model, but look at what Reece James does when he comes on, lashing and kicking. I hope he can eradicate. Reece James has to be the role model next season. He has to. Reece James has missed out on so many games this season through injury. And then he also copped 2 red cards this season for same incidents, lashing out. He's going to be a role model. He needs to first fix himself as his character. So now comes the question, Gallagher, right? Gallagher, I know this season we've been very skeptical. I know I've been skeptical. But if I'm being honest, I think I've seen a little bit more of role model from Gallagher in recent times than I've seen from Ben Chilwell or Reece James. And do you know what the crazy part is? And this takes us to the next part of our news. We're potentially looking to get rid of Gallagher, a particular player that the manager that we have right now wants to keep. So We're going to get to that news right now. We'll have a look at all the other stuff that Silva said as well in more details. But we're going to have a quick look at Conor Gallagher. Aston Villa are interested in Conor Gallagher. Ladies and gentlemen, Aston Villa are interested in Conor Gallagher. And Aston Villa is just one of the latest teams. There are many other teams that are interested in Conor Gallagher. Spurs are interested in Conor Gallagher. And a few of the other clubs are. I think West Ham, recently I saw as well. But Aston Villa, one of them. Now, you let me know, ladies and gentlemen. If Poch is going to stay, and looks like, and that's another topic we're going to touch base on very, very soon. If Poch is, let's say, argument's sake, he is going to be the next season, he'll be the manager. And Poch, the way he's talking recently, kind of looks like he's going to be the manager next season. Is it wise to get rid of Gallagher? Is it wise to get rid of Gallagher? In my opinion, probably not. Probably not. You can't just get rid of, next season I'm worried. The role model, the leaders. You're probably now going to have to keep Gallagher because he's showing some form of leadership. Milo, okay. I always thought it was a wrong idea to make Reece the captain this year. Reece the captain this year. Very disrespectful towards Thiago. None said anything when Poch did something this stupid, and now I wonder why there is egos. Yeah, look, I actually thought Thiago Silva will be the captain, and I thought Reece James will, eventually you'll get that. But Reece James needs to work on himself. I see some leadership from Enzo Fernandez. I feel like he knows what it takes to play for Chelsea. I do as well. I do see some leadership from Enzo Fernandez, 100%. But Enzo Fernandez is a player that now needs to be integrated into this team, because Enzo Fernandez, I know he's got injuries. He had injuries. He's been playing with injury. But let's be honest, Enzo Fernandez is a player that Pochettino probably is not his type of a player. I love Enzo. I want Enzo to shine at Chelsea Football Club. You all know how much I love Enzo. But I think we also have to agree he's a mismatch for the manager. So we cannot have next season where it's all clouded. We cannot have next season. We need to be crystal clear next season. No egos. Players need to keep working hard. Players need to work with each other. And we need to build a team that can get back into Champions League. And then we need to build a team, a foundation that can eventually start competing in the Premier League. Then you can start getting and integrating your next Neymars, your next Messis, your next Ronaldinho. No problem. But you can't do all of this when the structure's a little bit shaky. Haj, Unai Emery is a manager who knows European football and a coach who will play in the UCL. Rates Connor, so if he does go, we better get dollars. Yeah. 100%. Now, let's check out more news. Clearlake Capital owner Baghdad Iqbali and Jose Feliciano are in Manchester to watch Emma Hayes' Chelsea team to try and clinch a fifth straight Barclays Women's League title and say goodbye to Emma. Yeah, by the way, big up to the women's team for winning yet another Premier League title. Massive congratulations to them. I want to take out some of Pochettino's comments. Yeah, this was a really good one, by the way. Pochettino, we were talking this morning that it's not enough sixth. We're not going to celebrate that. We're not going to take a picture because we're finished in fifth or sixth position, because I think it's not enough for the club, for the fans, the sporting directors, the owners, the players. I love that. I absolutely love this. And I hope we can uphold this for next season. I truly hope we can uphold this for next season. Cesc Fabregas was there at Cobham yesterday, by the way, which is nice to see. Hopefully Cesc is going to be in Serie A next season with his team Como. It'll be interesting to see how he does in Serie A. While Postecoglou can confidently plan for the summer, Pochettino must wait for the fate to be decided in Chelsea's end-of-season review. Let's talk a little bit about that. I thought Pochettino's future for next season was at least locked in, but looks like there could be still some issues there. Thiago Silva could speak on the pitch to the fans after the match. Plans still being finalized by Chelsea. I think he deserves to have a final say. That will be nice to see. Baghdad Iqbali was understood to have reservations about Pochettino from the start, but emotion was taken out of it, and the results post-Arsenal have shifted the dynamic. So, look, once again, for me, just because 4 results have gone our way, for these owners to now, if it is true, if that news is true, that for me is flip-flop. Do you know what I mean? That for me is flip-flop. If Baghdad Iqbali didn't like Pochettino from the beginning, and now all of a sudden he's liking him because of the last 4 games, you can't just judge it on 4 games. You have to demand that this continues next season if he stays next season. You have to hold the team and the manager accountable. You can't just let next season just drift and then we try and rectify right at the end. No. The form that we are seeing right now must continue next season. Mauricio Pochettino wants more control over signings. There could be tensions if Chelsea press ahead with plans to sell Gallagher and Chalobah. Of course, these are 2 players that have done so well for Pochettino. It will be so strange if you get rid of them. It will be very, very strange. It is suggested that Pochettino took long to settle on the right tactical formula, and there is concern that his training methods may have contributed to Chelsea's injury problems. This is coming from Jacob Steinberg. So these are heavy news, man. These are heavy news. Now, I want to talk about obviously De Zerbi news. We'll get into that very, very soon. But I want to talk about who's this? Who's this? Ladies and gentlemen, Chelsea eye up Kieran McKenna if Mauricio Pochettino leaves. Once again, from Jacob Steinberg. Why is there so much managerial conversation still taking place? What's going on? Ipswich manager. Chelsea eye up Kieran McKenna if Mauricio Pochettino leaves. Apparently, there's been some conversation. Chelsea have spoken to Kieran McKenna's representative. So it makes you think, what is going on? What is actually going on? Do the owners like Poch? Do they not like Poch? Does Poch want to be here? What is actually going on? We are buying all of these kids. We are selling players that the current manager wants to keep. What's going on? Ruth, Ms., this might be out of topic, but what was that song you was... I'll let you know. Jacob Steinberg has to be waffling here. I refuse to believe this. I refuse to believe as well. But, I mean, honestly, you can't put anything past our owners and our directors anymore, man. You really cannot. You really cannot. No manager who bottles the final to Liverpool kids losing 5-0 to Arsenal, spreading his legs so his friend Arteta can win the league. But thank God Pep keeps winning. Kuba, big up to you, my man. Miz, it's nothing new. There will be a season review, like they said, and Poch was talking weed. You just decided that Poch is going to say, Miz. You just decided that Poch is going to stay. Well, it looked like, and we have to understand, Cole Palmer post Brighton game said, "We are fighting for the manager. We love the manager." Like, these things need to be considered now. These things need to be considered. I don't believe in Poch. I know a lot of you guys don't believe in Poch. But the facts are, he has somewhat rectified the end of this season. The fact is, he's probably going to make it to Europa League. And when you look at all of that, you have to probably then say, okay, well, that was the bare minimum expectation. He's probably going to get an opportunity to stay next season. And the fact is, these players, they're coming up publicly and saying they want to stay. They want to fight for Pochettino. And the fact is, this manager has now spent an entire season getting to know these players at a personal level and finally reaping benefits of it. Now, are we now willing to just rip all of that up, not consider what the players want, not consider that we have achieved the bare minimum this season, and just start all over again? Do you know what I mean? Like, I may have reservations, you may have reservations, but I think now it's got to a point where we do need to see how Poch starts next season. We do probably need, he deserves to probably see next season. Having said that, as I said, if in the first 10 games we start seeing that the results are not going our way, he needs to go. But he needs to be given that opportunity to show us that it can, he's improving the team. But on top of that, what good is it to keep Pochettino if you're going to get rid of his players? And what good is it to talk to an Ipswich manager? No disrespect to Ipswich, but that's the level that we want. Is that the level that we want? Because a lot of these managers, a lot of them either not moving, either going somewhere else. Thomas Tuchel's back in the market. We want to talk about Roberto De Zerbi, by the way. Let's have a quick talk about Roberto De Zerbi now, because it all ties in with the managerial conversation. Roberto De Zerbi, ladies and gentlemen, it's confirmed that he is leaving Brighton. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed it. Brighton have confirmed Roberto De Zerbi is leaving the club after tomorrow. So Roberto De Zerbi is in the market. I rate him. I like him. Is that where we're heading? Is that where we're heading? Perhaps we're heading for Roberto De Zerbi. Bayern Munich apparently, I don't know, they're half interested, half not. If Chelsea want to make a change, then the only man on the market I would do that for is Roberto De Zerbi. I think this is PYS and his opinion. His style of play suits our squad very well. He has worked with both Winstanley and Jewell, and has Caicedo, Mudryk, and Colwell already in the squad, allowing a good transition. Who knows? Florian Plettenberg confirmed from all parties involved that Roberto De Zerbi will not become the new coach of Bayern Munich. Not become the new coach of Bayern Munich. Saga continues, and time is running for Bayern, as many players from the current squad and potential new signing want to know who the new coach will be. So, what do we want? What are we wanting? Are we wanting Poch to stay next season? If we are wanting Poch to stay next season, then why are we selling Gallagher and Chalobah? If we're not wanting Poch next season, then are we getting Kieran McKenna? Are we getting Kieran McKenna? Are we getting Roberto De Zerbi? It's 100% not going to be Thomas Tuchel. And it's 100% got to be a particular manager that's going to have to accept that there are young kids that are coming to the team, more kids that will be coming to the team. So for me, look, it's too chaotic. It's too chaotic. It is too chaotic at the moment. We still have one more game, and I want to talk about that game. But before we do that, let's take some comments from you guys. By the way, smash the like button, guys. If you're here for the first time, subscribe. Smash up the like button. Google too much hype. Let's sign someone who's won things and stop being an experiment FC. Is De Zerbi an upgrade on Poch? I guess the question is, what do you guys want? Do you want Poch to stay next season or not? And I might put up a poll. All right. You know, there's a lot of things that you need to consider. You may go, oh no, you know, we want this player to come in, that player to come in, but we also want Poch to stay. But you don't understand that some of these players may not work. You may say, oh, get rid of Chalobah, get rid of Gallagher, but keep Poch. Once again, doesn't make sense. You may say, keep Gallagher, keep Chalobah, keep Matson, get rid of Poch, but then who? Who are you bringing in? You have to also consider what Cole Palmer and a whole heap of other players are saying. Is it wise to rip it all up and start all over again next season? Is that going to be wise? Lot to think. And in the midst of thinking about all of this, we still have a final game to play and still quite a lot to play for. We must beat Bournemouth, make it 5 out of 5 wins. It's at Stamford Bridge. Last game in front of our home crowd. Let's make it a really, really good one. I think the players are going to be buzzing to win that 5th game in a row. Bournemouth, they've been actually very, very good this season under their new manager. So it's not going to be an easy game, but I fully expect Chelsea to win this and keep a clean sheet, hopefully. And then there is there's a certain potential there that Spurs could lose to Sheffield United. Now, yes, it is somewhat of a long shot, but it can happen. Spurs could lose to Sheffield United. Sheffield United's at home. They could finish off the season with a bang. Spurs could lose, and we could end up coming 5th. And that will be confirmed Europa League position. What do you do then? Do you just give it to a new manager? Or do you keep this manager? So much to think about. Miz, do you really believe that Poch is the right manager for us? Me personally, I don't believe that. I personally don't believe he's the right manager. But am I open to be proven wrong? Of course I am. Of course I am. I think it will be very naive and very illogical and irrational if one person is so stubborn in the way of in how they view life or any particular matter. I can sit here now, in my personal opinion, say I don't believe he's the right manager. But I also have to understand, is it wise? I may not believe he's the right manager, but is it wise to get rid of a manager who has, at the end of the day, still given us the bare minimum expectation of making into Europa League, which is what my expectation was from the start of the season, off the back of how we finished last season? Is it wise to get rid of a manager when the players, clearly, the players, they could have down tools. They could have down tools. The players could have down tools multiple times this season, but they didn't. Is it wise? Should I be that egotistic that, no, I don't think this manager is good enough, get rid of him, and I don't consider anything else? Is that going to be wise? What if he fails next season? And this is why I said, next season, we can't wait till the end of the season to make a decision. Next season, from the get-go, we need to be competing for top 4 bare minimum. Come November, December, next season, if we are 8th, 9th, 10th, brother needs to go so that someone can come in and rectify the situation. It can happen. I'm not saying it's a free hit for Pochettino. No. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is it wise? Is it wise? Chelsea Empire. I blame Poch for not making UCL. He went away from what he did in preseason and then started using it last 5 games. Yeah, look, to a certain level, and I've never shied away from this, Poch, of course, needs to take blame. But now when I see Thiago Silva and his final messages that he's saying that some of these players need to let go of their ego, I have to also think it probably wasn't an easy job for Pochettino to handle all of these kids. Chelsea Empire, we have seen this season how some of these kids have behaved. We have seen right in front of our eyes. The OnlyFans, all the time these players are linked with OnlyFans girls. All the time these players are out partying, doing crazy stuff off the back of a loss. All the times these players have argued on field for a penalty. Don't forget this. That penalty incident, the last one, the big one, that wasn't the first time. That happened previously with Sterling as well. And I know Sterling, he's not a kid, but these sort of problems have happened before this season. So, of course, we can sit here and blame Pochettino. Of course we can. He has to be blamed to a certain degree. But I think it will be very, very disingenuous if we solely blame him. If we solely blame him. I think it will be very, very disingenuous. Because I think this job is not being made easy. And it seems like the job will get harder and harder for whoever the manager is. Forget about Poch. Let's say, for argument's sake, Roberto De Zerbi comes to Chelsea Football Club. You think Roberto De Zerbi, from the beginning, is going to be able to do a madness? I don't think so, man. I don't think so. As much as I rate Roberto De Zerbi, I think even Roberto De Zerbi will struggle with some of the players we have. Because they're kids. Roberto De Zerbi also has a lot of kids at Brighton, by the way. And Roberto De Zerbi this season has said it to the Brighton board. There needs to be balance. You need to bring in a little bit more experience. So, let's say you don't get Roberto De Zerbi. Let's say you get that Ipswich manager. We're willing to gamble on an Ipswich manager to come and compete at the highest level in the Premier League and lead Chelsea Football Club. Because Ipswich has done so well in the Championship. So he can just translate. He's done really well with a lot of youngish players at Ipswich. So we have to understand. Man. Like, we can't make it even harder. The job is hard as it is. The job is difficult. The job for a Chelsea manager to take us back to the top and compete is already very difficult. Arsenal are emerging to be primed for the next God knows how many years. Pep Guardiola, depending on how long he stays, Man City will be primed to continue their dominance. Then there are new players coming along. Liverpool with their new manager. God knows what's going to happen to them next season. Maybe they're going to go through a bit of transition. A lot of their players are leaving too. What's going to happen to Aston Villa? What's going to happen to Man United? This is not an easy league, man. This is not an easy league. What's going to happen to Newcastle? Are Newcastle just going to stay quiet? Newcastle got wealthy owners as well. They'll have aspirations. And then every season, there is a surprise package. Every season, there is a team that surprises us. You think Postecoglou and Spurs, they're just going to keep quiet? What I'm saying is, this league is difficult. Don't make it even more difficult for a manager by just bringing in kids. And I think we now have a duty to consider perhaps keeping Poch for a little while longer. I don't think it's now going to be wise to get rid of Poch. I don't think it's going to be wise. As I said, I'm not some sort of a Pochettino fan. You guys all know that. I'm not. And I know a lot of you guys are not Pochettino fans as well. But for a second, think about the situation we're in right now. Think about what is potentially building, it seems like. Yes, we can sit here and say, why did it take Poch so long? Why did it take Poch so long to tactically get it right? But maybe there is a deeper story. Maybe, just maybe, there might be a deeper story. It's probably not easy. It probably hasn't been easy. So I think we as a football club, these owners, this is now coming back, circling back. All the news we've gone through this particular live stream. Big up to each and every one of you guys. Thank you for being very, very respectful in the live chat, by the way. We're coming full circle back. If we are keeping Poch for next season and we want him to take us to top 4 at a bare minimum, we need to equip him with the ingredients to cook a very good meal. We need to equip him. We cannot take away the ingredients away from him that will allow him to cook a very good meal. We cannot take those ingredients away from him and then expect him to do well. You can't do that. You can't do that. It doesn't make sense. So yeah, I wanna now talk about finally the game, and we're gonna wrap things up. Give me your score prediction. Let me know your thoughts about everything we talked about. I don't want to spend too much time on the game. We're going to do a full live stream, couple hours. So everyone tune in for the watch along. Going to be a longer watch along. We're gonna. By the way, hold on 1 second. We're gonna do a longer live stream tomorrow, longer watch along, because obviously final day. It'll be a double watch along as well. So we'll be watching the Chelsea game. Plus we will have one eye on Spurs as well. I fully expect Chelsea to beat Bournemouth, finish off the season with a bang, 5 wins in a row. That honestly should not be taken lightly. I think that's good. That's good progress towards the right path. 5 wins in a row is good, but it's not something to be overly elated about either. But I think it's a good way to rectify the season. I expect us to beat Bournemouth. I'm hoping for a miracle between Spurs and Sheffield United. I'm hoping for a miracle that Sheffield United can beat Spurs so we can become 5th. And I'm hoping some of our players can finish off the season with a bang as well. Get more goals for Palmer. Hopefully a goal or 2 for Nkunku. And hopefully we can keep a clean sheet as well and finish the season off 5th. I think that no one probably would have expected that 1 month ago. 1 month ago, no one probably would have expected that. I certainly did not expect that. I believed, I hoped for it. I kept on saying that hopefully we learn from our mistakes from the first half of the season and we rectify that. I hoped for it, but I didn't really think it was possible. So yeah, I'm going with a score prediction of 3-0 to Chelsea in front of the home crowd. And finish the season off well. Max tweet. We're going to get to Max tweet. Haj, Miz is speaking facts. People need to view our situation in totality. Don't late your hate. Don't late your hate for Poch make you blind. Oh, don't make your hate for Poch make you blind to the situation are facing. This is difficult job for navigate for any coach. Yeah, absolutely. Max tweet. Everyone talking about Max tweet. Max, let's maximize. Let's maximize. One hour ago. Chelsea mission in South America is not over. Club scouts will be watching Argentine players during this Copa America. Estevao add-ons include personal achievements like Ballon d'Or and team achievements. Okay, well, Ballon d'Or one is going to be a bit tough one, but team achievements, I'm pretty sure that can be done. All right. So this is what Max has to say. Chelsea owners will decide Mauricio Pochettino's future soon after the Bournemouth match. There is some frustration from both parties, including the sporting directors, who were disappointed to see tactical inclusion so late into the season. No indication on what is more likely. I don't know what to believe anymore, man. Honestly, I don't know what to believe. There are certain times I'm seeing from, say, Max, and I love Max, by the way, at PYS, right? There are certain times PYS is saying that he's getting news that the hierarchy, there's a lot of people in the hierarchy that are now supporting Pochettino. A month ago, they weren't supporting Pochettino. Now they're supporting Pochettino. And now we are hearing that, again, they are frustrated. That why has it taken so long to do all of these tactical twitches? Who's telling the truth? Who's not? I'm not really sure anymore. I'm as confused as every other person. Because, as I said, Max from same PYS, I've heard both sides of the spectrum. I've heard both sides of the coin here. One day, they're happy. And another day, they're not happy. And now we're back into not happy again. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. Martin scored. That's fantastic as well. Martin is a player. Look, I know a lot of us are blaming Poch, and to a certain degree, he needs to be blamed. But it's our board that doesn't want to keep Martin, right? It's our board that's selling Martin. A board can say, if the board can make a decision that Estevao Willian will be a starter come 25-26 season, the board can equally make a decision that Martin doesn't get sold. But the board is willing to sell Martin. The board is willing to sell Martin. Means we can't buy players for Poch. Game of football is evolving around technical players. If we sign his running dogs, the next manager takes us, he's going to need total different type squad. No problem. I get that, Felix. Fully understand that. Now, we can get rid of Poch, no problems. But you need to consider you're willing to rip up a lot of things here. You're willing to rip up players fighting for him. You're willing to rip up the fact that he has at least achieved a bare minimum of coming fifth, or fourth or sixth or fifth. We'll see. And the question is, who are you bringing in next? And are you bringing players for that many? Ultimately, you need to bring a manager that's going to be able to play with this squad and get more than what Pochettino has got. So if you're willing to rip all of that up, no problems. I get that. I understand that. I get that and I understand that. But it is going to be, I believe, somewhat of a gamble now. I really do think it's going to be somewhat of a gamble now. And whoever the next manager is, you need to bring that next manager in before preseason. You need to bring that next manager in before preseason starts. And then next manager, what if they need to see all of these players again? They need to evaluate all of these players again. It's this process of evaluation and going through how the players are and whatnot. I just don't want to have a setback next season. I need to now kick off from being fifth or sixth. We're sixth, right? I need to kick on from being sixth. I cannot afford to not be in the Champions League position next season. I cannot afford. So no problems. You bring in whoever you want to bring in. We have to make it into Champions League no matter what next season. No matter what. Whether it's Poch, whether it's the new manager, we must make it into Champions League, or else this project, this thing that we are trying to do under the new ownership, it's a total flop. It will be a total flop. 2 seasons in a row, we are finishing outside of Champions League positions. It cannot be a third season as well. It cannot. It cannot be a third season as well. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, hope you guys have enjoyed this. Smash the like button. If you're here for the first time, subscribe. Hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. I shall see you guys for the watch along tomorrow. Be there nice and early. We'll start actually a couple of hours before kickoff because obviously there's so much to talk about. Final day. We're going to have our eyes on Spurs game as well. And of course, the title decider. Who's going to win the title? Arsenal, Man City. We're going to have an eye on that too. It's going to be fantastic. So make sure you guys are all there. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, subscribe if you're here for the first time. Smash the like button. Hit the bell notification. See ya.